Hi, I'm Mr. Burke, and welcome back to my Introduction to Latin series. Today, I want to talk about the ablative of means or instrument. So we've already seen that the ablative can be the object of prepositions. Something like in equo can mean on the horse, like sto in equo, I stand on a horse. An impressive feat. But what about that translation we learned at the beginning, where equo means by or with the horse? When do we use that? Well, when the ablative doesn't have a preposition, when there's no preposition in Latin, that's when we'll translate it by or with. So in equo is on the horse, equo is by horse or with a horse. And this, when the ablative is used without a preposition and is translated by or with, is what we call the ablative of means or instrument. So let's more formally define the ablative of means or instrument. What does ablative of means mean? Well, if you've ever heard the term, the ends justify the means, what people mean is the end results justify the tools or instruments or methods used to get those end results. That's what the ablative of means is. I called this the ablative of means or instrument, and it's worth noting that the first dictionary definition of instrument is tool. This isn't a terribly common use of instrument these days, but you can still sort of picture a supervillain saying something like instruments of death or instruments of destruction. And what he means is tools of death, tools of destruction. So let's see some examples. The first two examples I choose to point out a redundancy in English. I kill with a sword versus I die by the sword. In both these instances, by the sword or with the sword is the instrument or means by which the action, killing or dying, is done. In English, our rules seem a bit arbitrary. Why is it by in one instance and with in the other? But in Latin, this is very simple. Both of these would be translated gladio without the preposition. A few more examples. I win with a brilliant plan. I dig with a shovel. I travel by horse. I travel by horse is interesting. It could also be translated I travel on a horse. But the idea is the horse is the means by which I'm traveling. This brings us back to the example at the beginning. Why is sto in equo not just sto equo? Well, the reason is in equo, when I'm expressing sto, is expressing location. I'm not standing by means of a horse, I'm standing on a horse. And this translation, by means of, is a good way to figure out, do we have an ablative of means or do we have some other ablative? I'm not standing by means of a horse, but I am traveling by means of a horse. So if it's, I'm coming into town on a horse, that's venio equo, no preposition. Because this can be restated, I come into town by means of a horse. But if I stand on a horse, that's sto in equo, and you need that preposition. Because here, I'm not standing by means of a horse, I'm standing literally on top of the horse. It's the location that I'm standing that I'm trying to express. Another thing students tend to ask is why is it not cum? Why, if I kill him with a sword, do I say gladio, but not cum gladio? We've already learned that cum means with, and that it can take an ablative as its object. But we use cum with the ablative either to express emotions, cum ira with anger, or to express people accompanying us, cum amico, with a friend. If I fight with my friend, then pugno cum amico, because my friend is accompanying me in this fight. I'm not using my friend as a tool to fight with. But if I fight with a sword, then I fight gladio, because I'm using the sword as a tool to fight. All that said, these sorts of idiosyncrasies aren't that important. What's more important is that you know how to translate the ablative without a preposition. You translate it by, with, or by means of. Because the ablative without a preposition, for now, expresses the means or instrument with which we do something. We will in the future learn more ablatives that don't take a preposition, but for now, it's just the ablative of means. Thank you so much for joining me. Today we learned about the ablative of instrument. In Latin, that's expressed with the ablative without a preposition. In English, it's translated by, with, or by means of, and it expresses the instrument or the tool or the method with which I do something. I fight with a sword, I travel on a horse. Until next time, Wale!